Hello, my name is Michael Bistany from EFXfitness. I am the owner and fitness trainer in that facility in Manchester, New Hampshire. And what brings me here today is I am the strength coach here at Goffstown High School, resident strength coach. And I run the after-school program in the weight room from 3 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I also have taken care of the football team over the summer, doing some speed and agility training. We'll be working with a few other sport teams, working a little bit with the chair team also. And I am here today to talk to you about the basic movements of fitness. And as I like to call them, the human movements, the 6 basic human movements, okay? So as I like to say, every human moves a certain way and has certain movements that we all do. And moving right along, basically when an athlete or a client comes to me, I'm going to break them down and take a look at all the different movement patterns that they do based on the basic 6, as I call them, and then from there devise a program for that person or for that team. So the first session when somebody comes in, when they're looking to get strong or fast or whatever their goals are, we look at the basic 6, which are the squat, which is obviously sitting and standing. The number 2 would be the hinge, which is bending over safely. Number 3 would be the lunge, which can be walking, setting your legs apart. It can be running, so on and so forth. Then we talk about the twisting motion, which is, again, a basic human movement. And twisting is very important, especially for athletes, hitters, someone shooting, hockey, lacrosse, tennis, golf, so on and so forth. Then there's the push and pull. So you're pushing something away from you or you're pulling something towards you. And those are the basic movements. There's a few others, but I kind of live by those. And with that in mind, today what we're going to talk about in this first segment is we're going to talk about the squat, simply because to me, every program should be based around the squat, and it kind of evolves around that. When someone gets really good at squatting, their whole body gets strong. Their legs get strong, their core gets strong, their butt gets strong. So today we're mainly going to talk about the squat. And I'm going to take you through all the different variations of it and how to perform it properly. And with that in mind, we will see you in a few minutes when we get to the squat. And again, my name is Michael Bistany, EFXfitness, strength and conditioning coach here at Goffstown High School. Hello again, Michael Bistany here, EFXfitness and Goffstown High School strength coach. So as we talked about, we're gonna go over the squat, and we're gonna go over the different ways to squat. And there are multiple ways, there are multiple implements or tools, as I like to say. I have some things with me here. But basically, when someone is learning to squat, we don't, and I say we, myself and my coaches and many coaches who are teaching the squat, don't want the athlete or the client to use weights until they can perform the squat with proper form, proper technique, proper alignment. So that's kind of what we're going to go over today. Now, please understand that when someone is going to squat, especially with weights, we need them to warm up first, okay? So let's talk real quick about the athletes here in the weight room. So if I'm in the weight room, again, I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. at Goffstown High School. Now, in my facility, that never happens because we coach them personally what to do. But here, some of the athletes might walk right into the weight room and go right up to a bar and put a couple 100 pounds on and start squatting without warming up. There's 2 problems with that, 2 major problems with that. The major problem is injury risk, okay? So there's no blood flow going into muscles and all of a sudden they get blasted. So a couple things can happen. They can hurt a back, they can hurt a knee, they can hurt a hip in the squat pattern. So we don't want that, okay? We want them to warm up, get the hips loose, get the core or the abs working, get some blood flow, get a little heated, maybe get a little bit of a sweat. Then they should be starting with a light weight, a medium weight, and as we say, working weight, whatever that may be for that session, okay? So that's the protocol we use. Warm up, light weight, medium weight, working weight. Back to the basics of the squat. So we talk about the body weight squat, and quite frankly, a lot of people don't know how to do the body weight squat correctly. And what I mean by that is in terms of the angles of the body, okay? So first thing we look at is we look at the overhead squat. So we're going to use this lovely stick here, and we want the arms as vertical as possible. They can be moderately wide, not way out here, not way in here, just a little bit wider than shoulders. Then what we want is the feet a little bit wider than hip width, toes turned out just a tiny bit if needed. If not needed, that's fine. From there, we start to descend in the squat, and I'm going to look around at the athlete or client and see what's going on. Okay, the knees are coming forward, and that's me because my ankles are tight. Are the knees collapsing in? If they are, that's bad. That's a back or knee injury waiting to happen. Is the stick coming forward? Well, that could be a shoulder, it could be a back issue. Is the whole body leaning forward? That could be a core issue. So there's a lot of things to look at. So that's the first thing we do, is break it down with the overhead. It really tells me and or my coaches what's going on in that client or athlete's squat. From there, after they do that, we know what to do and where they should be in terms of where the movement deficiencies are, where their strengths are. If someone grabs a stick and does a perfect squat right away, we may give them weights right away. If someone doesn't, let's work on a bodyweight squat. So a bodyweight squat, there's a lot of ways to do it. We might have them face a wall, as the football team did with me this summer. They were out in the field against the fences. And they want to get as close as they can to not touching the wall, maybe an inch or two away. Hands are up or they're overhead again. And they're trying to squat without touching the wall. And they're trying to squat as low as they can without falling backwards. And that's what they're trying to do there. That is a very simple bodyweight squat that gets the hips opened up, gets the core activated, gets the glutes working, gets all the muscles fired up. It's a great warm-up for an intermediate or advanced athlete. For some people, that could be their squat exercise of that day or of that program. So a few angles I'm going to show you sideways to look at. A few angles to look at sideways here. So again, squatting down, we want the shoulders to hips, as I like to say, to stay as vertical as possible. We never want the shoulders to come over the knees, because then the lower back starts to work in a squat. We don't want that. Number two, we're looking for depth. So for depth, we are looking to get the knees to 90 degrees, which is right here, or I like to say thighs parallel to the floor, even with the floor. If a client or an athlete cannot get there, guess what we do? We bring in a box, or this lovely chair works good too, and we simply have them squatting, touching the box or the chair. So we kind of can tap and go. If that's too low, we can take the chair or the box and put a couple telephone books on it. We can put a couple weight plates on it to make it higher. If it's too easy, we take away the chair and get a different box, a different chair, whatever the implement may be. The depth is the key. Now, there is some negatives to going too low in a squat. I'm going to show you the sideways view again. If we go too low, below parallel, I call this resting. All right, so if you ever see a baby, or actually not a baby, but a toddler, actually my son's a great example, he's 8, he can do this too. This is a resting position. All the muscles are turned off. Honestly, I'm 48 and I could stay here for a few minutes if I need to, and I have done that with the feet flat. This is a great place to be when you're resting. This is not the bottom of a squat because all the tension is gone. The sweet spot at the bottom of the squat is just above parallel, just above that position. Okay, so we want to stop about here and come up, okay? So from there, if you can do that, if we can get to that parallel position with your squat, which is the 90-degree spot, we're in good shape. No pun intended, we're in good shape. Couple of things to look at here is we want good alignment with the knees to hips to toes, as I like to say, all three positions. And what do I mean by that? We talked about earlier, we don't want the knees collapsing in like this. That's where the injuries can happen, okay? So if the knees are collapsing in like this and you're playing volleyball and you jumped off the ball and you came down here, guess what's going to happen? Very common injury, and especially in female athletes, is ACL tears or sprains. We don't want that. We always want the knees to track the toes. So if you look at me here, my knee is in line with my toes, in line with my hips. My knees aren't caving in. Even better, if the knees are out really wide, it's going to activate your glute muscles, which are the strongest muscles in your body, by the way, not your abs. Your glutes are strongest muscles in your body. Side view, knees are out, deep squat, coming up. Boom, okay? So if you can perform that, and basic rule of thumb is 3 sets of 10, great. You can do that perfectly for a couple weeks. Time to add weight. So I've brought some tools here. So a couple basic things to use. Number one, dumbbells. A couple ways to squat with dumbbells. You can hold them on your shoulders, just like this. If you can perform the same movement with a couple of dumbbells, you're in good shape. Again, it's a great way to squat. Excuse me, it doesn't take any shoulder strength to hold the barbell on your back. The weights just kind of sit there, elbows to your ribs. Personally, I like the dumbbell in the front squat position, so they're kind of touching together. Elbows are locked in, and we're doing our squats. Boom. Okay? Boom. So that would be the dumbbell squat. The only one I'm not a big fan of is dumbbells to the side, because what happens with the dumbbells to the side, most people are going to go into a deadlift where they're going to lean forward, and now we're getting into the back and the hamstrings. A squat should be quad or quadricep dominant and glute dominant. Okay, so that's the dumbbell variation. My personal favorites are the kettlebells and the barbells. Kettlebell is a great tool. I love this. I will use this as a warm-up for certain clients or athletes. So this is called a goblet squat. You hold the kettlebell right in front of your chest, nice and high, not way up here, not way down here. I like to say chin to handle is your spot. Out a little bit from the chest, not tucked in, not way out, halfway. Elbows locked into the ribs, squat. What's beautiful about the kettlebell is it's a hip opener. My hips are stretching and my abs are working, and this is a light kettlebell for me. A couple other options with the kettlebell is single arm rack position, offset, as I say. So if I hold it with one arm here, my wrist isn't flexed backwards, my forearm's nice and straight. I'm going to hold my other hand out and I'm going to squat. So if I'm looking for 10, I'm going to do 5 in one arm, 5 in the other arm. Lastly, with kettlebells, this is the last one I would do, a little more advanced here. This is what we call the double kettlebell front squat. So we have 2 kettlebells in our hands. Hold them up here. Got double the weight, working pretty hard now. Okay. Set them down nice and safe. A couple of other things to look at in a squat is your upper back is a key ingredient, as I like to say in squatting. So if you're squatting, I'm going to give you a little different angle here. If you have weights in the front, in the back, I don't care where it is. If you don't have a strong flat back like this as you squat, and it's rolled forward, and you're squatting like this, guess what's going to happen? Lower back. Very bad. So we want to grab the weights, barbell, I don't care what it is. We want to pull everything down tight and strong. Abs will just start to work. Upper back will start to work. Let's move on to barbell. Barbell is the most advanced form of a squat. There's multiple ways to hold a barbell in a squat. The most basic and commonly used way is a back squat. There are a couple issues with the back squat. If someone has a shoulder issue and they can't put their hands behind their head and get close to touching, they shouldn't be doing back squats. Personally, I have an old hockey injury in my left shoulder. I can still do them because I've been working on my shoulders to get them more flexible and mobile. So here's the key with your back squat. Another side view on this side. We're going to hold the bar in our upper traps, not on our neck. You can see the difference there. That's on our neck. It's on my bones, on my neck, and my cervical spine. We're kind of pull it down. We're also going to pull the bar, and bear in mind I'm using a stick here, not a bar, but this is a stick. There's no weight to this. Great for demonstration. We're pulling it down. Now watch what happens to my back. If I'm just relaxed, there's nothing going on. As soon as I pull it down, my back muscles just really fire up and my chest pushes out. I'm going to hold it there and I'm going to squat. And I'm going to stay nice and vertical with my upper body. My knees are pushed out. Now what's great about this, again, no weight. Because I'm pulling it down, even with no weight, my abs are firing and my lats, my big muscles in my back are firing. Now I know you're thinking, well, Coach Mike, this is a leg exercise. It is, mainly. However, if you do it properly, you can make a squat in a great core or ab exercise and a great upper back exercise like I just showed you. That's the back squat. Moving on to the front squat. A couple ways to do it. Hold the bar across your shoulders and just kind of lock the thumbs underneath the bar and just let it sit. Everything else from there is the same. here is the main difference between the front squat and the back squat. The front squat, when you have a bar loaded up here, your whole upper body is forced to stay nice and vertical as you squat. When you have a bar on your back, your body wants to naturally lean forward. So if somebody has a back issue or they have trouble squatting in a back squat without leaning forward, I give them the lovely front squat. This is one way to do it. The other way is the Olympic front squat, where you hold the bar like this, okay, and try to put your elbows up. Another great way to do it, if somebody has shoulder issues or can't hold the bar in a front or back squat, I love this one. I have someone at my gym who's done almost 300 pounds with this, and it's awesome. It's called the Zercher squat. So you literally just hold the bar right in your arms, okay? And it's the same thing. You're getting a lot of core, you're staying nice and vertical, squatting up and down. Very simple. And you can load plates on, does not bother the arms at all. Lastly is going back to the test that we did earlier, overhead squat. So overhead squat is really tough. I don't advise it unless you have a very, very healthy spine and shoulders. And yes, it can be done with a barbell, but again, I don't advise it all that much, okay? So if you're doing it, please make sure that you are safe, your upper back is healthy and strong, and so are your shoulders. So you can do it with a barbell, you can do it with dumbbells or kettlebells, but again, you're back to this, and now you're doing your squats for reps. Boom, okay? So here's why the squat is so important, and here's why I started this whole Fitness Effects series with the squat. To me, not only as a strength coach, as a personal trainer, squat is number one. There is a number 1A we'll talk about next time. Squat is number one in my book because, as I just showed you, it makes your whole body strong. Not just your legs, makes your core, your butt, your upper back really strong in one great movement. As long as you have a nice, what we call periodized program. It could be for 4 weeks, it could be as long as 10 weeks. That's where I come in. Whether you're an athlete at the school or a personal client, it's all about having a program. I cannot stress that enough. If you log on to, I believe it's goffstownbigteams.com, the high school website, I just did a nice little article on strength and conditioning there, talking about why an athlete needs a program. As I talked about earlier, you should not just go into the gym and randomly do things, whether it be arms or crunches or whatever. If you want to be strong, you want to be fast, you want to reduce injury risk, maybe you want to gain muscle, right? Maybe you want to lose fat. You still need a program. You should be doing similar exercises every week. Squat is the baseline for all those exercises. Every week should start with a squat, especially on Mondays. Hint, hint, guys. Guys here at the high school I see in the weight room, squats on Mondays, not bench press, not curls. Great results, getting the whole body strong, getting faster on the field or the ice, and reducing injury rate, again, by adjusting those proper movements, never letting the knees come in, keeping the knees out, squatting to depth, to parallel. Again, squat, number one. So to wrap this up, we're going to move to our closing segment, and that is the squat. Thank you again. Okay, so that wraps up week one of Fitness Effects. We went over the squat and all the different variations of it, and the hows and the whys and why not, and the things you should do and shouldn't do. We talked about body weight, kettlebell, dumbbell, barbell, all the different positions. And next week we will talk about the hinge, the other basic movement pattern where you are quote unquote bending over to pick something up off the floor, or different ways of doing that. So again, I am Michael Bistany of EFXfitness in Manchester, also strength coach here at Goffstown High School. If there are athletes or just general students that want to come in and do some strength training and get strong and get in great shape, I am your man. I will be in the weight room Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. I also wanted to mention we are going to start a new special female-only class Mondays at 4 p.m. And everything else is just kind of come when you can. We have a small group of athletes, some basketball players and some lacrosse players that come in right at 3. So if anybody wants to join them. And again, Michael Bistany, and thank you for watching.